place. Okay. So what is coal mine? We have seen in the previous class. What is an explosion? We have discussed, and mine explosions, fire dam explosion. What is fire dam? How the fire dam explosion takes place, that we have discussed in the previous class. Okay. Inflammable mixture. What is inflammable mixture? What is limits of flammability? Flammable limits are explosive limits. Okay. And we have also discussed the lower limit of flammability, upper limit of inflammability. Okay. And how to calculate the lower flammable limit of a mixture of gases by Le Chatelier relationship. Okay. And these are the flammable limits of combustible gases like acetylene gas, carbon monoxide gas, ethane gas, ethylene gas, hydrogen gas, hydrogen sulfide gas, methane gas, and ammonia gas. Then we have also seen, we have discussed about the Coward's diagram. What is a Coward's diagram? We have seen. This is the Coward's diagram we have discussed. Then what is the significance of Coward's diagram? We have discussed. And what are the factors which affect the inflammable limits? Factors affecting the inflammable limits also we have discussed. And the ignition temperature also we have discussed. What is ignition temperature? The definition of ignition temperature, and what are the factors on which the ignition temperature depends, we have discussed. Then what is lag on ignition? What is lag on ignition also we have discussed. Lag on ignition is not a constant value, but it varies with the following factors. And we have also discussed about what is direct blast and what is backlash. Direct blast and indirect blast we have discussed. Then we have discussed also explosion flames, primary flame, secondary flame, effect of high pressure and temperature, effect of black damp on inflammability also we have discussed. Okay. Effect of black damp on inflammability. Then we have also discussed the explosion characteristics. Explosion characteristics. So, like your explosion flame temperature, explosion pressure, flame length, velocity of propagation of flame or flame velocity, flame temperature. What is flame temperature? We have discussed. What is explosion pressure? We have discussed. What is flame length? We have discussed. Velocity of propagation of flame or flame velocity also we have discussed. Methane content of mine air, condition of gas mixture, whether at rest or in motion, Point of ignition we have discussed. Length of gas zone we have discussed. And presence of obstacles in the path or change in area of a roadway cross section we have discussed. And now today we are going to discuss about causes of fire damp explosion in mines. What are the various causes, various reasons for the fire damp explosions to take place in the mines? Okay, so the first cause is negligence of miners. Negligence of miners, use of damaged safety lamps, use of damaged safety lamps and their improper handling, use of means blasting materials, mine fires, friction, electric sparks, and other special causes. So these are the various causes of fire damp explosions in mines. First is negligence of the miners. If the miners who are working inside the mine are not taking proper care, if they neglect some safety rules, then there will be explosion in the mines. Second, use of damaged safety lamps and their improper handling. If the miners are using a damaged safety lamp and they are not properly handling the instrument, then also there is chances of fire damp explosion in the mines. And during blasting, during mine fires, and if there is a frictional force, electric sparks, and other special causes can be the cause of fire damp explosion in the coal mines. So first we are going to discuss about the negligence of miners. So nobody should be allowed to go to the mines with the smoking materials, with matchboxes. Nobody should be allowed to go down the mine and nobody should be allowed to make fire inside the mine. And opening flame safety lamps, nobody should be allowed to open the flame safety lamp inside your underground mines, which may result in ignition of fire damp causing fire damp explosion. So this is the negligence of miners. The people who are working inside the mine should not smoke, they should not make any fire, they should not open the flame safety lamp, which may result in ignition of fire damp, ultimately causing fire damp explosions. So these things should be avoided by the miners working in the underground coal mines. What is use of damaged safety lamps and their improper handling? Suppose you are using a damaged safety lamp and you are not properly handling it. What will happen? A safety lamp is safe only when its various parts are clean. A safety lamp is safe only when its various parts are clean and it is in good condition. The safety lamp should be in good condition. All parts of the safety lamp are properly assembled and the safety lamp should be properly handled. Then only it will give you protection. So a safety lamp is safe only when its various parts are clean It is in good working condition. All the parts are properly assembled and the safety lamp is properly handled. Second cause of explosion is blasting. Blasting in coal mines, roadhead rippings represented a dangerous source of ignition of fire damp in the past. Blasting in coal mines, roadhead rippings represented a dangerous source of ignition of fire damp in the past. What is the effect of blasting? What will happen after blasting? Flame produced by the explosive lasts very short time, so no chance of burning is there after the blasting is done. The hot gases emitted from the blasting cool down rapidly, so there is no chance of burning the fire damp air mixture. Heat of compression. Sudden compression of a gas by 20-fold increases the temperature of the gas and ignites the gas. Sudden compression of the gas by 20-fold increases the temperature of the gas and ignites the gas. So with the development of a new and safer explosives and improved blasting techniques, the number of explosions due to this cause had decreased considerably. Then if there is a mine fires can easily bring about ignition of flammable fire damp air mixtures in contact with them. So if there is a mine fires can easily bring about ignition of flammable fire damp air mixtures in contact with them. And if there is a frictional heating and frictional spark can ignite flammable fire damp air mixtures. If there is a friction, mechanical friction, frictional heating and frictional spark can ignite flammable fire damp air mixtures. The frictional ignition hazard depends on the nature of the contacting materials, composition of the flammable gas mixture, rate of energy release, and type of frictional contact of the materials. So frictional ignition may take place due to friction between metal and metal, friction between metal and rock, friction between rock and rock. So where from the heat will be generated? If there is a friction between metal and metal, there will be heat and ignition. Friction between metal and rock during drilling, friction between rock and rock. So if two rocks are rubbing each other, they can also generate fire, which can cause fire damp explosion. Then what is metal to metal friction? Degree of ignition hazard from metal to metal contact depends on the properties of more readily oxidizable metal. If the metal is very easily oxidizable, then uh, uh, it is very dangerous. And extensive research carried out in Germany and UK clearly shown that ignition hazard from incendiary particles of iron is extremely less. Danger may be feared from aluminum and its alloy. If any aluminum metal is there and its alloy is there, so there is more danger compared to the iron. Okay. Then what is metal to rock friction? Metal to rock friction. It poses the greatest ignition hazard in the mines. You know, while drilling, the drill bits, they come in contact with the rock and friction takes place. So it poses the greatest ignition hazard in the mines. Frictional sparking during cutting and drilling operation in seams, coal seams, containing hard siliceous bands or inclusions of iron pyrite nodules attributed several fire damp explosions in mines. Nature of rock, particularly quartz content and its grain size, far more important than types of picks or bits used. The coal cutter pick generate brilliant spark of 200 degrees centigrade to 300 degrees centigrade, which can ignite iron pyrite dust and produces flame, which in turn burns methane air mixture. Okay. So then what is rock and rock friction? What is rock and rock friction? Some mine explosions in the United Kingdom and Canada were attributed to friction between rocks caused by fall or caving of sandstone rock roof rocks. Experiments experiments uh, experiments conducted in the United Kingdom showed that the ignition of fire damp air mixture by the impact of rocks take place by its contact with the hot patches on the contacting rock surfaces. Particularly, siliceous or quartz bearing sandstones can produce ignitions. This is rock and rock friction. Then what is electrical sparks? Electrification of coal mines has introduced into the mines an ever-present source of ignition by electric sparks of flammable fire damp air mixture. Electric sparks of sufficient energy and long can ignite the fire damp air mixture. Sparks, electrical sparks may be produced from switch gears used in the mines, damaged cables used in the mines, signaling apparatus used in the mines, faulty electrical equipments used in the mines, short firing magneto exploder for blasting purpose. Okay, this is electrical sparks. Then the minimum energy of a spark causing ignition of flammable fire damp mixture varies with methane concentration, humidity of the mine atmosphere, oxygen content of the mine atmosphere, temperature of the mine atmosphere, pressure of the mine atmosphere, turbulence of the air moving inside the mine. Most flammable mixture for ignition by an electric spark occurs occurs at 8.3% of methane, irrespective of the type of spark. If the methane percentage is 8.3%, so most common mixture, most flammable mixture for ignition by an electric spark occurs at 8.3% of methane, irrespective of the type of the spark. The minimum igniting energy is as low as 0.28 millijoule. Okay. Then what are the other special causes? Other special causes. Other special causes. Sparks of static electricity or frictional electricity having adequate energy capable of igniting fire damp air mixture. Ordinary belt passing over pulleys can accumulate static charges sufficient to produce sparks. Dust-laden air passing through ducting can electrify ducting by friction. When dust particles are blown through and projected from a compressed air pipe or nozzle, the dust cloud may become electrified, and under certain conditions, the electrostatic discharge the result may be capable of igniting the fire damp. Methane blowers, when catch fire, can become a cause of explosion. Tungsten filament of an incandescent electric lamp, even a 2-volt lamp, is capable of igniting a fire damp air mixture if the enclosing bulb become accidentally broken. So next we are going to discuss how to prevent the fire damp explosion in the mines. Prevention is better than cure. So how to prevent the fire damp explosion in your coal mines? There is no practical measures exist for arresting fire damp explosions in coal mines. Only protective measures can be taken against this hazard, which you can adopt in your mines. The various protective measures against fire damp explosion hazard in the mines can be divided into the following 3 groups. How to prevent fire damp explosion in the mines? So there are 3 types of protective measures you can take. There are 3 types of protective measures you can take to avoid explosion in your mine. First measure is measures against accumulation of dangerous fire damp mixtures in the mine workings. This thing you can do in your mines. You can take some measures against accumulation of dangerous fire damp mixtures in your mine workings. You can take some measures against ignition of flammable fire damp mixtures. You can control fire damp emission. Control of fire damp emission. So these are the 3 preventive measures taken to avoid fire damp explosion in the mines. So first measure, measures against accumulation of dangerous fire damp mixtures in mine workings from the beginning. So what you have to do to avoid accumulation of dangerous fire damp mixtures in your mine workings? You have to provide adequate ventilation to dilute the fire damp below limits and carry it away to the surface. So this you can do by providing to your mine so that the fire damp can be diluted to its below limits, and you can carry or remove the methane gas to the surface through your upcast shaft. Okay, so through your downcast shaft, fresh air will go, and through your upcast shaft, foul air will come out through adequate ventilation, so that the fire damp can be diluted to below its limits. Frequent mine air sampling can be done for the methane at several points in the mine. The important points to be noted for adequate ventilation is mine should be mechanically ventilated. There should be a mechanical ventilator, a fan, to ventilate the mine. Where methane emission is more than 5 cubic meter per ton of daily output, a standby main fan having an independent drive and power circuit should be provided in the mines. Main fan to be stopped. Main fan to be so placed it will not be damaged by explosion. Okay, so uh, important points to be noted for adequate ventilation. Mine should be mechanically ventilated by using a mechanical ventilator, a mechanical fan. Where methane emission is greater than 5 cubic meters per ton of daily output, a standby main fan having an independent drive and power circuit should be provided in the mines. Main fan to be so placed, main fan to be so placed, it will not be damaged by explosion. Automatic fire alarm or signal devices should be there to alert persons on duty should it stop or slow down the fan. So automatic alarm or signal device should be there to alert the persons on duty who should stop it or slow down the ventilation fan. Mine equivalent orifice. Mine equivalent orifice. In your ventilation class, you must have studied a mine equivalent orifice. The mine equivalent orifice should be as large as possible, greater than 2 meters square. Okay, so the mine equivalent orifice should be as large as possible, more than 2 meters square. The mine equivalent orifice. The entire mine should be ventilated by the exhaust ventilation system. Exhaust ventilation system should be there. So the first thing is mine equivalent orifice. Mine equivalent orifice should be as large as possible. Preferably it should be more than 2 meters square. The entire mine should be ventilated by the exhaust ventilation fans. The entire mine should be ventilated by the exhaust ventilation method, not forcing. There are two ventilation systems are there. One is exhaust ventilation system. The other one is forcing ventilation system. So you should adapt the exhaust ventilation system to ventilate the entire mine. Ventilation of development headings should be done by utilizing mine ventilating pressure as far as practicable. Auxiliary fans should be installed and located in such a manner that air is delivered within 5 meters of the face and recirculation of air is eliminated. In all ideal days, the mine should be ventilated by primary ventilation only to prevent accumulation of fire damp. Then ventilation doors should be correctly located. Ventilation doors should be correctly located and kept closed, except when main equipment and trains are passing through them. The main ventilation system, the main ventilation system to be planned so that simple, effective, and reliable ventilation of all workings is assured. The method of working or extraction should be selected so that it guarantees an easy and safe ventilation of the faces with adequate velocities in the face and the wastage. Then the seams, the coal seams. The coal seems to be depillared, deflaring. The coal seems to be depillared top downward to decrease methane content in lower seams. Air leakage should be kept to a minimum. High standard of ventilation should be maintained in districts liable to outbursts. Bleeder system of ventilation to be adopted to drain out the gases behind the stoppings. Roof cavities to be filled up with approved sealant or ventilated to avoid accumulation of fire damp. So air currents and methane emission should be controlled by systematic measurements of air quantities and their methane concentration. Special examinations for fire damp layering should be made during periods of falling barometric pressure in roadways adjacent to old workings. Check methane emission in ascensionally ventilated faces. Layering index to be judged by Middendorf formula, which is equal to S index is equal to cube root of 23 V square by C root over F, where V is the mean air velocity in meter per second, C mean methane content, F cross-sectional area of the airway at the measuring station in meter square. S index, if it is less than 2, there is probable danger of methane layering. If it is greater than 2, there is no danger. So why you want to calculate S index? From the S index, layering index, you can come to know whether there is danger of explosion or not. If the S index is less than 2, there is probable danger of methane layering, and there is probable cause of methane explosion. But if the S index is greater than 2, there is no danger. So if the values are given, you will be able to calculate S index. S index, by using this formula, you can calculate. Then second, what measures you should take? Second, measures against ignition of flammable fire damp mixtures. Preventive measures. Second, preventive measures which you can take against ignition of flammable fire damp mixtures. All persons should be prohibited from carrying smoking articles, matchboxes, or other spark or flame making devices. Nobody should be allowed to go down the mine with smoking articles, matchboxes, or other spark or flame making devices. That is why people are checked while they go down the mine. All coal mines should be treated as safety lamp mines, as a number of explosions in the past had occurred in the so-called naked light mines. Only approved types of flame and electric safety lamps should be used in the coal mines. These are the measures you have to take against ignition of flammable fire damp mixture. And besides that, you have to take the following precautions should be taken when using flame safety lamps. When you are going to use the flame safety lamp, the following precautions should be taken. The lamp should be carried. The lamp should be carried in vertical position. The lamp should be carried in vertical position. The glass should be protected from splashes of water. The lamp should not be set down on the floor, but should be hung from a substantial support. Should not be left unattended in the mines. So these are the precautions you have to take while using the flame safety lamp in the underground coal mines. Similarly, the flame safety lamp should not be exposed to strong air currents to prevent the flame from going out. The flame safety lamp should not be exposed to air currents, to strong air currents, so that to prevent the flame from going out. No combustible material should be ignited by the lamp. No combustible material should be ignited by the lamp. When the flame of a safety lamp indicates a dangerous percentage of gas in the mine atmosphere, the lamp should be withdrawn slowly, carefully, and promptly to prevent the flame from going out. If the flame is extinguished suddenly, the lamp should be withdrawn carefully and promptly and should be taken into fresh air and allowed to cool down before relighting it. So these are the precautions you have to take while using the flame safety lamps in underground coal mines. And the other thing is that only certified flame-proof, intrinsically safe apparatus should be used in coal mines. Whatever equipment you are using in the underground coal mines, that should be certified, flame-proof, and intrinsically safe apparatus should be used in underground coal mines. The apparatus should be properly installed, protected, operated, and maintained. These are the precautions you have to take so that fire damp explosion can be prevented. To prevent the ignition from electricity, in a mining district, if electrically operated equipment is not in immediate use and men are not working there, power should be cut off in that district. Trailing cables vulnerable to damage should be suspended from hangers and suitably protected against damage. To prevent ignition from electrostatic charges, all ventilation ductings should be earthed. Only anti-static polythene sheeting, hoses and belts used to prevent accumulation of electrostatic charges. In endangered mine workings, a reliable methane monitor with cutout that will be automatically cut off power supply to the electrical apparatus when the methane concentration reaches the prescribed maximum value may be installed. If the main fan is stopped for any reason, electric power supply should be cut off in return airways. So these are the preventive measures you have to take to avoid fire damp explosion in your mines. Besides that, you have to take more precautions while using the auxiliary ventilator. Auxiliary ventilator not to be operated when main mine fan is stopped. Auxiliary ventilators should not be operated when main mine fan is stopped. In a place ventilated with an auxiliary fan, if the auxiliary fan is stopped or fails, electrical equipment operating in the place should be stopped and the power line disconnected at the source until the ventilation is restored. The auxiliary fan should be so maintained that the impeller does not strike the casing. So these are the precautions you have to take to avoid fire damp explosion. Then the other precaution you have to take is excessive frictional heat produced from conveyor belts, brakes and bearings should be avoided by good ventilation and proper maintenance. Frictional sparks produced by metal to rock contact, as with case cutting, drilling, continuous mining, and longwall power loading equipment should be avoided. The cutting bits of mining machines, when they are worn out or broken, are especially hazardous if they scrape against instead of cutting into the material. Then the other precautionary measures against frictional sparking during cutting of seams by Jeep coal cutters. The precautionary measures against frictional sparking during cutting of seams, coal seams by Jeep coal cutters. If you are cutting the coal seams by Jeep coal cutters, you have to take some precautionary measures against frictional sparking by selecting appropriate cutting horizon and lower peak speeds. The peak speed should be less and you should select the appropriate cutting horizon. Wet cutting using external water sprays directed at the ingoing and outgoing peaks. There should be external water spraying should be there so that the sparks, the heat can be reduced. Providing a water mist in the cut, introducing inert gas such as carbon dioxide and nitrogen gas into the cut, or ventilating the cut. Adequate ventilation of the cut using compressed air. Then frictional ignition by reaper type continuous miners, reaper dozers, reaper cutters. Frictional ignition by reaper type continuous miners can be considerably reduced by using carefully engineered backsprays on the reaper drum applied directly at the coal cutting bits. Materials constructed of light alloys to be avoided in underground coal mines to eliminate incendiary sparking. Spontaneous heating of coal should be controlled by proper planning of mine development as well as coal extraction, good ventilation system, and inspection. Similarly, while doing blasting with explosives should be restricted to a minimum. While doing blasting with explosives should be restricted to a minimum. Welding, flame cutting, grinding, and soldering operations, etc., must be done in the underground only after checking concentration of methane gas before and during such work and taking proper precautions. All mobile diesel powered equipments must be inspected and maintained in approved condition in accordance with the instructions furnished by the manufacturer. Then third type of preventive measures, precautions which you have to take to prevent fire damp explosion in your mines is by controlling fire damp emission. You should control the fire damp emission. How to control the fire damp emission? Coal seams with high methane content at a greater depth should be intensively worked out by high production methods. Methane drainage techniques should be applied where it is not possible to control methane concentration by general ventilation system. How to control the fire damp emission? So the coal seams with high methane content at a greater depth should be worked out very quickly, intensively worked by high production equipments. Methane drainage techniques should be applied where it is not possible to control the methane concentration by general method of ventilation. Okay, so that is all about the methane explosion in coal mines. So we have discussed earlier that there are two types of explosions are there in coal mines. One is methane explosion. Second one is coal dust explosion. So what is coal dust explosion? What is coal dust explosion? Coal dust, when suspended in the air as a cloud, is capable of bursting into an explosion and propagate it even in the absence of the fire damp. Even if fire damp is absent in your mines, coal dust, when suspended in the mine air as a cloud, is capable of bursting into an explosion, which is called your coal dust explosion, and which can propagate very fast in the mines, even in the absence of the fire damp. So for a coal dust explosion to take place, what are the conditions necessary for a coal dust explosion to take place? Coal dust must be of a composition which includes sufficient volatile matter should be there in the coal dust. Sufficient volatile matter should be present in the coal dust. Then only the coal dust explosion is going to take place. Similarly, coal dust should be of necessary fineness. Fine coal dust is prone to explosion. They should be in a dispersible condition in the form of a thick cloud. The coal dust particles should be dispersible and should be in thick cloud which can move from one place to other place. The coal dust cloud should be so dense that one cannot see through it. The quantity amounts to 30 to 40 gram per cubic meter of space. A source of ignition should be there of sufficient intensity should be present to ignite the coal dust. Such circumstances generally exist after a fire damp explosion takes place in your coal mines. After the fire damp explosion takes place, then there is chance that there will be coal dust explosion. There will be coal dust explosion. So, development of coal dust explosion. How the coal dust explosion develops. Exact ignition mechanism is not known to anybody. Common view is that surface oxidation of coal dust particles takes place. Ignition of flammable mixture of air and gases present in between the dust particles. Combustion of solid coal particles. So these are the mechanism through which the coal dust explosion takes place. By surface oxidation of coal dust particles, ignition of flammable mixture of air and gases present in between the coal dust particles, combustion of solid coal particles. So coal dust explosion develops in stages. First stage of ignition is called poof. First stage of ignition or poof. It is a sudden combustion process of a part or whole of the whole of airborne dust marked by a very high temperature but without any dynamic effects. If the whole of the dust is consumed, the combustion of dust air mixture ends with a poof. Main explosion. If the whole of the dust is not consumed, the poof may lead eventually to main explosion. During the transition from poof to explosion due to transfer of heat of combustion to the surrounding unburnt layers, mainly by radiation, an increase of pressure in the burning layers takes place. So, when the pressure exceeds, when the pressure exceeds a certain value, a full-fledged explosion is developed in which the combustion takes place at a rapid rate. The pressure wave developed passes through the unburnt layers ahead of the explosion flame and stir up the deposited dust, creating necessary fuel in the form of a thick cloud for the following flame. Thus, the dispersion of dust and flame propagation processes are intercoupled. Okay, so when the pressure exceeds a certain value, a full-fledged explosion is developed in which at a rapid rate. The pressure wave developed passes through the unburnt layers ahead of explosion flame and stir up the deposited dust, creating necessary fuel in the form of a thick cloud for the following flame. Thus, the dispersion of dust and flame propagation processes are intercoupled. Then flammability or explosive limits of coal dust. Like your methane gas explosive limits, similarly coal dust explosive limits are there. It is defined as its ability of coal dust when in the form of a cloud to spread or propagate ignition to all points where dust-air mixtures of corresponding concentration are present. The range of flammable limits or explosive limits is very wide, much wider than in the case of fire-damp mixture. So in the next class, we are going to discuss about the lower limit of flammability. Lower flammability is not an absolute quantity. It depends on many factors like particle size, chemical composition of the dust, nature and intensity of igniting source, time of contact with the source, turbulence of the dust cloud, uniformity of dust dispersion, purity of the sample, composition of the atmosphere, especially methane and oxygen contents. So next class we are going to discuss this lower limit of flammability, which depends on these factors like a particle size, chemical composition of the dust, nature and intensity of ignition source, time of contact with the source, turbulence of the dust cloud, uniformity of dust dispersion, purity of the sample, composition of the main atmosphere, especially methane and oxygen content in the main atmosphere. So this is all about today's class. Thank you for your patient hearing. Wish you a very good day. Thank you. See you next class.